Joining us now is the MOS PMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Jitendra Singh ji, namaste. Thank you for speaking with us. It's a Sabka Saath budget is what everybody is saying. I'd like to get your thoughts because the finance minister started her speech by saying it's going to be an inclusive budget. Your thoughts?
No, absolutely. Anand, you said it in one single phrase and expression. It is indeed an exclusive budget, and I think it is also a cumulative outcome of the foundation that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has sought to lay down for this nation over the last 8-9 years to build up a resilient, sustainable economy. And the budget today also in turn lays the foundation for the next 25 years to come, the Amrit Kal, so to say, when India is a frontline nation in the community of nations. And therefore, I think very wisely, very thoughtfully, the budget seeks to include every section of society, even those which hitherto felt that they were not adequately attended to by the earlier governments, be it the women, be it the Vishwakarma, the tool user, handlers, the youth, the green growth, which are the, I think, 3 or 4 focus areas. And then, of course, as the budget very appropriately describes, the 7 priorities of Saptarishi, which again is both contemporary as well as futuristic. You have the green growth on the one hand, you have the youth power on the other hand, you have skill component involved in that, and also at the same time reaching out to the last man in the last queue or reaching the last mile or the saturation points. So I think this is a budget despite all the constraints, and I think what is most remarkable is that we've just come out of COVID. And at a time when most of the nations of the world, across the world, are actually struggling to sustain their economies or to stabilize their economies, India has actually vindicated what is being popularly described as the bright spot in economy, as is being said by some of the economists across the globe.
You've named a lot of sectors and also factors that have been addressed in this budget, but Dr. Jitendra Singh, a lot of them fall under your domain, be it quality, be it personnel. But in terms of earth sciences, in terms of space technology, yes, there is a certain thrust towards artificial intelligence, but is our space program, is earth sciences, is that all taking a back seat in this budget?
No, not necessarily, because when the budget talks of artificial intelligence, the AI hubs, this is actually, it owes its basis to the basic sciences. So you cannot be doing your honors in English literature without having read alphabet ABC. So it does not mean if the thrust is BA honors in English literature, the kindergarten ABC has been forgotten. It's actually an extension of that. But having said that, for example, now as far as the sciences is concerned, I think we have tried to go across to the areas which were left hitherto relatively untouched. For example, there's a specific mention of 157 new nursing colleges to be established. Now, very, very thoughtfully, and I think it's an outcome of a vision, we have sickle cell anemia elimination mission, which was not thought about. So this is actually a kind of the prioritization that this government has given under Prime Minister Modi, particularly during and after the pandemic. Now you have joined public-private research initiatives under ICMR labs, which were not happening earlier. Now, as far as the ministry that I am directly related to, though it was not part of the speech read out by the finance minister in the parliament, but if you go through the budget, in the estimates, there is about 25% hike in the budget allocated for earth sciences. Also, almost similar amount in science and technology, then also in biotechnology. And that is again a reflection of the reiterated prioritization which has come forth from none less than Prime Minister regarding the ocean resources, the deep sea mission. Let's not forget, he spoke about deep sea mission from the ramparts of Red Fort in his Independence Day address, not once but 2 consecutive years. In 2021 he spoke, in 2022. And that is reflected in the budget estimates today. Biotechnology again is a sector which has received 25% hike, considering that it deals with all the trials out. This is biotechnology department which has come out with 4 vaccines in just a span of 2 years.
2 years.
And that these vaccines, including the first ever DNA vaccine, the first ever nasal vaccine, the first anti-herpes vaccine, which has some contribution in also protecting the cervical cancer, in females and in the women. So, what I'm trying to say is that it's a hugely technology driven at the same time, and all this is part of the skill. So I don't think it will be either those who say so are possibly saying so because they are mandated to criticize, or they have not virtually gone through the details of it.
Well, my final question, Dr. Jitendra Singh, that while there is a vision for Bharat in 2047 as a Sampann, Samriddh and Samarth Bharat, there is also a certain roadmap for 2024. The ballot is somewhere written all across in the fine print. Vishwakarma plan schemes targeting all segments of society which are also critical vote banks, even in the elections to the states, the 9 states. Your thoughts on that?
No, Anand, I understand that question is inevitably expected, particularly when the budget has come out, when the government has come out with the last budget of this term.
Yes.
But I would also say that this is also an outcome of the conditioning which has gone into our minds, both in the citizen's mind, in the media mind, also in the common commentator's mind, that since it is on the eve of election, it has to do something to do with the election or with the ballot consideration. But I would rather say that this is also let's not forget that, or maybe we'll take some time to understand that Prime Minister Modi has tried to introduce a new kind of political culture in this country, which is that reach out to the one who requires us, reach to the last mile, and then leave it to the public to decide. So this is what is being reflected in this budget. It is addressing the requirements of the women. It is addressing the requirements of the middle class. The exemption limit has gone up from 5 to 7 lakh. The rebate has gone up. The exemption limit has gone up. It is addressing the self-help groups. It is addressing the green growth, which is futuristic, because let's not forget, in the next 25 years, India's economy is hugely going to depend mainly on 3 resources: the ocean resources, the Himalayan resources, and the green resources. And that has been taken care of. So, Prime Minister Modi's approach has been to do what is required to fill the gaps which have been left by the earlier regimes, and to reach out where it is required to be reached, regardless of the vote consideration. And that has been a kind of an approach which the government has followed in the 8 or 9 years. For example, if you see in the beginning itself, the Ujjwala estimates that was given by Nirmala Sitharaman, 11.7 crore household toilets constructed. Nobody asked whether the toilet belongs to a Hindu or a Muslim or a caste or a creed, wherever it was required. 9 crore drinking water connections given in rural areas. 9.6 crore LPG connections given. And the list was prepared by the administration depending upon the requirement, the households, the below poverty line. Nobody asked which caste, which creed, which religion. They didn't even ask whether you voted for us last time. They didn't even insist that now you vote for us next time. So I think Prime Minister Modi has introduced a different kind of work culture, which is very objective, which is very scientifically driven. And one of the glaring examples is that now we are moving on to aspirational blocks.
Yes, from aspirational district, 500 blocks.
Was a path-breaking initiative in the planning. You know, otherwise the backward districts were based on more of a subjective criteria. Right. This was totally based on 41 indices. And now we are moving downwards, aspirational blocks. So I think this is very objective, very scientific and need-driven. And then it is left to the public whom they find the best.
Now the challenge is implementation. You've laid out the roadmap in the budget. Now you've got to implement it in the run-up to 2024. Dr. Jitendra Singh, thank you very much for speaking with us and joining